What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Odds and Ends. This past week, the greatest video game console of all time, the PlayStation 2, turned 20 years old here in the United States. So I figured we'd just take a little stroll down memory lane, some of my gaming experiences, some of my favorite games, maybe a hidden gem or two, and yeah, very excited. Let's just get going. So the PlayStation 2 is a very influential console. It was an interesting time in gaming. It was supposed to be like that next giant leap in the video game experience. Things were on cartridges, then they moved to like CDs, and now they moved to like DVDs and DVD-ROMs and all that stuff. So the graphical capabilities of the machine, the audio capabilities, the soundtracks and things going into these video games was far superior to what you would get, on previous consoles. There was just such tremendous hype around the PlayStation 2. I remember I got this bad boy at a KB Toys in Yuma, Arizona when I was stationed in the military out there. I was like the second or third person in the barracks to get one. I remember going to this KB Toys, and it was like, I think the consoles were like $300. This one was like $400, but it came with 3 games, and I got like an NFL Game Day, a Hot Shots Golf, and I think Tekken Tag or something. But I remember she took it out of the box and had me sign all these waivers saying that I wouldn't take it out and leave it in my car. The KB bag that they gave me wasn't actually a KB Toy Store's bag. It was just like a generic black bag. People were stealing them, and be careful around the mall. People are watching you leave the mall and following you around, and you might get stolen from you and all that stuff. So she wrote down all the serial numbers, and it was just crazy. It was just a different time. But I remember just falling in love with the PlayStation 1, and when one of the people in the barracks got a PlayStation 2, and they were playing like a Madden game, and I was like, graphics can't get any better than this. This is the best that video games will ever be. And boy, yeah, that wasn't true. There's so many great consoles now, but that doesn't diminish what the PlayStation 2 did or meant for the gaming industry. There's so many rumors floating around that Russia bought like 4,000 of them or something because the hardware was so powerful that they were going to use the technology to power, intercontinental ballistic missiles or something. It was just crazy. And, the PlayStation 2 is so special because not only were you able to play your PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games, your CDs, but for a lot of us, it was our first DVD player. And now you can go to a thrift store or a flea market and get a DVD player for $5 or $10. But back then, those DVD players were $200, $300, $400, $500 a pop. So you felt like you were getting a really good deal when you bought a PlayStation 2. Plus, that gamer cred of being the first kid on your block or the third kid in your barracks to have a PlayStation 2. Just an amazing console. This is my original that I bought at that KB Toy Store. I was looking through it earlier because I was hoping that there was some receipts or something left in there. Unfortunately, there weren't. This one was given to me by a family member, and this one, which is brand new, everything is still in the plastic. I got that at a garage sale a couple years ago for $25. So the PlayStation 2 was just so special because it has a huge library of games, and I don't feel like any genre was missed or neglected, like some consoles tend to do. Huge library of, platformers and shooters and sports games and RPGs, and, it was just a great console for gamers. You know what I mean? So what I thought I would do is I would run through some PlayStation 2 games here, and we could just talk about it, maybe share some memories. Alright, so let's just talk about it. Sports games. I like sports games. I don't buy them every year, but, every 3 or 4 years I might pick up one that's cheap at GameStop. The PlayStation 2 has so many sports games on it that you could build a house out of the sports games that they made on the PlayStation 2. So I'll just briefly talk about a couple of my favorites. NCAA College Football 2005. I'm a huge college football fan. I think I've done 23 or 24 seasons on this. I thought about doing like a retirement playthrough, you know, just one more game. Ohio State versus Michigan. Live stream it or whatnot, get it on capture card and post it. Because I don't know if I'll ever have the time to go back and play another season of that. Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2004. I like Hot Shots Golf. I like it a lot. But I also like Tiger Woods PGA Tour. I like the customization. I like the, you know, that they use like the real golf courses. Nowadays, it's like, you know, the Masters Edition. And, you know, I think 12 have PGA Tour 12 has Muirfield Village or something on it. But great games. If you're into the sports genre, PS2 is definitely a powerhouse for those games. I have a copy of MLB 2005 around here somewhere. I can't find it, but I played through a couple seasons of that. Ken Griffey Jr. was on the Reds at that time, and you know they had Brandon Phillips and you know a bunch of good players. And I remember that game. It was with 989 Studios, and there was a coupon. It was like an online voucher coupon. You could go to New Era, which you know does the apparel, and you would get a free hat. So you know I got a free Cincinnati Reds hat, and it was pretty cool. You know, it's got like a nice little bonus. They don't do that anymore. They don't even give you manuals anymore. You know what I mean? So to give away an actual tangible thing was pretty awesome. And I don't remember any other consoles after that really doing that. I'm a huge wrestling fan. WWF, SmackDown, just bring it. Great roster of characters. You could also create characters. Story mode's a little you know, the backstage area is kind of but tons of fun. I feel that after this game, the controls started to get a little wonky where they wanted you to do too much, and it kind of took away the arcade feel of it, which is what this game definitely kept in place. Also, very cool kind of note about this game is that Limp Bizkit at the time was doing The Undertaker's theme song, you know, that rolling song, rolling, 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 and Fred Durst wanted to be in the game, so to license that music, he was like, hey, just put me in the game and make me an unlockable character. So in order to unlock Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit in this game, you have to do like a survival mode type thing with The Undertaker where you got to beat like 20 or 30 people. It's pretty interesting. It's a fun game. You can probably get it cheap, so, you know, check it out. One of the things, in my opinion, the most important thing about the PlayStation 2 is that there were so many franchises that got their start on this console that we still play today. And not only that, they still repackage these games in collections or updated versions, and they still sell those games. And that's really a testament to how great those games really are and how great this generation of gaming was. So we're going to go through a couple of those games right now. Tekken Tag. Great game. I love it, love it, love it. I love the tag team elements to it where you can swap players in and out. This is a game that I put a lot of time into. My son's put a lot of time into it. This is actually his copy of the game because I can't find mine. But yeah, so awesome. And, you know, it's one of those games again where you look back at it and you're like, when you're playing this game at the time, you're like, graphics can't get any better. This is the arcade, you know, machine. This is arcade perfect, you know. And I think they did a Tekken Hybrid or something on PS3, but a franchise that's kind of been left alone is the Tekken Tag series. I mean, they make Tekken games like every year, right? But all right, let me put this one on the bottom because it's kind of awesome. All right, game that I haven't finished. You guys know I'm not Mr. RPG guy, but we really can't talk about PlayStation 2 without talking about the Kingdom Hearts series. The mashup between Disney and Square Enix, you know, the Final Fantasy characters and the Disney characters coming together in this big collaboration. Just an amazing game. I won't play the other games until I finish this game, but the graphics, the soundtrack to this, just absolutely phenomenal. And a relatively cheap game. Most of the time you can get that for like $10. Just came out on the Switch, a new Ultimate Alliance game, but the original Ultimate Alliance game came out on the PlayStation 2. My son and I, again, put so many hours into this. We hooked up the 4-player multi-tap, and we would play this game with everybody else. But the Diablo-style superhero game, that game was cool before all the superhero movies and superhero games and all that stuff took off. So I feel like I'm cool because I was way ahead of the curve on the superhero games. And speaking of awesome franchises, and Disney owns everything now. And they also own Star Wars Battlefront. This game is 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, a fan service game. Most of the Star Wars games up to this point were like 2D platformers, like the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo, or they were some variation of like a PC game like Rebel Assault, Dark Forces, or they were kind of like PC type games where the flying sections were like first person shooters. You know what I mean? I think it's like X-Wing or TIE Fighter or something like that. But this really lets you get into the battle and play as a stormtrooper, or with the Clone Wars campaign, you could play as the clones and fight the droid army. But a phenomenal game. It's like a battle royale, last man standing, take out all the enemies to win. Alright, another franchise that got its start on this 6th generation powerhouse right here is Sly Cooper. Now, this is a game that I did not play until this year, and I love this game. What a masterpiece. I love the visual style. It's got that cel-shaded kind of vibe to it. And, it's a little bit of collectathon, a little bit of a platformer. Just very fun to play. You should be able to beat that game in your first or second sitting. And just a very interesting series. Like I said, I have it on the PlayStation 3, but I really wanted to play Sly Cooper on its original hardware. Don't pass that one up if you see it cheap. Not a lot of people talk about this. We're getting into sort of hidden gem territory here, guys, with this one. The Conflict series. This is Conflict Desert Storm. This is the first installment. They made Desert Storm 2, Global Terror, Vietnam. So it's a military sort of real-time strategy where you play as a character. You're controlling 3 other squad members, and one guy might be a sniper, one guy might be a heavy demolitions guy with explosives, and you get your mission objectives, and you go around these enemy encampments, and you complete all the objectives and all the missions. And a very, very cool game. Some of the levels are a little tricky. You got to kind of really be stealthy and sneaky and figure out, the way to go. One of my favorite franchises of all time, guys, right here. Got its start on the PlayStation 2. Ratchet and Clank. This is Going Commando. This is my favorite Ratchet and Clank game. Yeah, my favorite Ratchet and Clank game. But there's 4 or 5 of them. But what's really interesting and really cool about those games is that if you've played through the first Ratchet and Clank game and you've got a save file, at some point during those games you can upload the weapons from the first game into the new games, and you can use like the Sheepinator or the Disco Ball or whatever, in these new games. And it just makes them fun, keeps the gameplay changing, and very, very cool games. If you've never played a Ratchet and Clank game, definitely do so, because they are a ton of fun. So one of my favorite franchises from the PlayStation 1 was the Siphon Filter series. I love Siphon Filter. It's a game that I feel they need to make a collection of, or reboot, or remaster, or give us a new game, or something. And I know that there are 1,000 people out there that feel that way. So Kickstarter on the Siphon Filter. We got 3 Siphon Filter games on the PlayStation 2. Stay away from the Omega Strain. We got Logan's Shadow. Good game, but that was also on the PSP. My favorite Siphon Filter game is Siphon Filter Dark Mirror. It mixes up all of those combat elements that you want in a game. Those stealth, those kind of go loud running guns, the first person shooters, collectathons. Very awesome. In this particular game, you've got like a night vision goggle, you've got like thermal goggles, and you have one that like detects like electricity. So you have to like use those in certain spots to figure out, oh, I need to shoot out that particular power box, or you need to put on the night vision goggles to see something that was written, like a password to get into a secret locker to get, secret weapons and stuff. Awesome game. Also, the sniper mechanic in that game, you have like taser darts, gas darts, exploding darts. So the way you use those in combination, maybe, an enemy walks around the building, but you can throw a smoke dart down in front of him and wait for him to pass in front of it, and the gas dart, knocks him out without alerting the other enemy. So it's like that level of strategy that goes into that game. Excellent game. I definitely say it's a hidden gem. People don't talk about it. Siphon Filter needs to be rebooted, and that's all that I'm going to say about that. One of PlayStation's most beloved franchise, Crash Bandicoot. I remember the original PlayStation 1, the old dude in the Crash Bandicoot suit out in front of the Nintendo officer. Hey, plumber boy! And, from that point on, you're hooked from Crash Bandicoot. Anybody that's willing to take on Mario like that. But this is the first game that I played on the PlayStation 2, Wrath of Cortex. Awesome game. The load times are a little long. Maybe they should remaster and cut that out. But you do get a variety of stages. My favorite are these, let me put that down, are these ones where you roll around in the giant hamster ball. Let me get the glare off of there. But a very cool platformer. And I think everybody owns that copy, or owns that game. It came out on the Xbox and the GameCube and whatnot. But, okay. So we're going to round this off with three games here. Tomb Raider Anniversary. First of all, shiny cover. You're like, oh, shiny, oh. But it's kind of a remaster of the first game. Visually, it's done really well. I really like this style of Tomb Raider game. The older Tomb Raider games are cutscene, go to a location, take care of all the stuff, cutscene, another location. The new games are sort of more open world and exploratory. But they definitely did right by this game, in my opinion, with the graphic updates. There's a new combat engine for shooting where you can kind of jump and shoot. And if you do it at the right time, you can do like one-hit kills on dinosaurs and tigers and all that crazy stuff. But I think there's 4 or 5 Tomb Raider games on the PlayStation 2. This is definitely the best one, in my opinion. Also a game that got a remaster on the PlayStation 3. So if that's your thing, definitely check it out. So I have only ever pre-ordered 3 games from GameStop in my entire life. Last of Us 2, Spider-Man on PlayStation 4, and this game right here. So to get me to actually go and pre-order a game, it has to be a game that I really, really want badly, and that it's hyped up, and it's like a must-play game, you know what I mean, for me. When the first Metal Gear Solid game came out on the PlayStation 1, guys, I cannot explain to you in words how important that game is or was to the video game industry at that time. It really showed off what the PlayStation 1 could do, from a cinematic standpoint, from a gameplay standpoint, and, from a soundtrack standpoint. When they announced this game, Metal Gear Solid 2, I knew that I had to get this game, and I had to get it day one. And I remember I picked it up, took it home, had a little TV in the living room next to the big TV, hooked up the PlayStation 2, popped it in, and I sat there for hours and played it. I know it gets some bad reviews. It may not be the best Metal Gear Solid game on the PlayStation 2. Naked riding, kick flipping everywhere. But to have a continuation of that first Metal Gear was just such a treat back in the day. And it's a game that I'll cherish, another one till I die. This is my pre-order copy. I've had that game for years, and it'll continue to be in the collection. All right, last game. You guys ready? This has been a pretty long video, but man, I felt so important to talk about this awesome console. A hidden gem. Right here. No one ever talks about this game. You're hearing it first right here on the CM Retro Gaming Show. It is a PS2 hidden gem exclusive. You guys know I like my shooters. Castle Shikigami 2. A awesome bullet hell style shooter that you can get for like 15 to 20 bucks. This game is so cheap right now. We didn't get a lot of shooters on the PlayStation 2. We got a stack of them. We didn't get spoiled like we did now with the PlayStation 4. The Castle Shikigami 2. Remember the name, because when you see this out in the wild or you go to get this at your game store, you're going to say, CM talked about that and he highly recommended it. awesome. It's technically a bullet hell shooter, but it falls in that subgenre of bullet grazing, where the closer you are to enemy fire, your return fire does more damage. This game is incredibly fair if you are sort of a novice or a beginner to the shooter genre, because it rewards you for hours that you've played. So you start with 3 continues. After you've played an hour, you get an extra continue. You play another hour, you get another continue, you know, so every hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, it keeps all that data on your memory card, and you can get up to 9 continues. And by that time, you won't need 9 continues to beat this game, I promise you. But still a hidden gem that nobody talks about. All right, we're gonna wrap this up, because I could literally go on and on and on about the PlayStation 2 and games and memories about this console forever. But I want to share this one last thing with you. And it speaks to not only the power of gaming, and for us, it's the power of the PlayStation 2. I told my son earlier today, he's going to be 22 next month. I told him I'm going to make a retrospective, kind of walk down memory lane video about the PlayStation 2. I've got like 4 totes of PlayStation 2 games, plus all these games back there. You know, I just love this console. Well, he comes up here, and we start popping the tops on these boxes. And, you know, we're digging through, and I'm telling him about games that I played that I loved. And he's talking about, you know, Jak and Daxter and, you know, Need for Speeds and all these games that he grew up and he loved. And it just speaks to the absolute power of the PlayStation 2. Here we are 20 years later, and not only are we finding all these games that we loved, but we're sharing memories. We're connecting again. And we're talking about all the memories that not only we had, but we shared together. And that, guys, you cannot put a price on that. You know what I mean? Like, it just, almost like I'm going to start to cry right now. Because as he gets older and, you know, moves out and has his own life and all these things, you know, you become more distant. But this little guy right here will always keep us together. And that's what I love about the PlayStation 2. Guys, I want to thank you all for being here. Hope I jarred some creative juices free, and you want to make a response video of your favorite games or some of your PlayStation 2 memories. Please like, comment, subscribe, share on social media, bang that notification bell so you can stay up to date on all of your CM Retro gaming goodness. Yep, here it comes. Here it comes. We better get the hell out of here. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you on the next one.